Okay, hints for homework sheet 22. I'll try and keep them short. Question 1, find the inverse formula. First thing I would do here is I would rewrite this as 5x plus 2 equals y. And then I want to change the subject to get x equals. And then remember, when you come to write down the inverse function, you change the y's, which are on this side here, you change them for x's. Question 2, perpendicular bisector. So we need this point here and this gradient, which is perpendicular. So the stages we go through, first stage is to find the midpoint. Second stage is to find the gradient of PQ. Third stage, find the perpendicular gradient. And then stage 4, use the midpoint and that perpendicular gradient in the formula y minus b equals mx minus a. Question 3, the first part, t divides su in the ratio of 2 to 1. Well, remember the little formula we've got for working out t is that we do 2 times the u point, 1 times the s point, and then divide by 3. So 2 times the u point, add 1 times the s point, and then divide by 3. Okay, and you do that for each of the x, y, and z coordinates. Second part of the question, find the angle UWT. So that's this angle in here, which we'll call theta. We can find that if we can work out these two vectors. So first of all, work out vector W to U, which is little u minus little w. Then work out its length. Then work out vector w to t, little t minus little w. Then work out the length of that vector. And then use all of those facts in the cos theta equals wu dot wt over the length of wu times the length of wt. Run out of space there, but you know what to do. Question 4, differentiate. How do we differentiate? We bring the power down the front, we decrease the power by 1, and then we remember to multiply by the differential of what's inside the bracket. For the second part, f of x equals 5 cos x. This is just a case of differentiating cos x, and you know how to do that. Remember the 5 stays there. Question 5 is quite a long question. To show that x minus 1 is a factor, so we set up our synthetic division, 1. Remember there is no x squareds, negative 3 and positive 2. We then go through our process and hopefully we'll find a 0 remainder there. If there's a 0 remainder, that means it's a factor. You need to write that in your answer. Part B, we know that one factor is x minus 1. The other factor comes from these 3 points here. You should then be able to take that second bracket and break it into 3. And then for part C, where you've got to solve the equation, make that equal to 0, and then get 3 answers, x equals, and x equals. For part D, stationary points, we're going to find the y by dx. We're then going to put it equal to 0. We're going to factorise it. We're going to get x numbers. We're going to do our nature table. And we're going to eventually then write down the coordinates of the point and whether it's a max, a min, or a point of inflection. For the last part of question 5, sketch the curve. Well, we know what the maximum and minimum turning points are. We just need to work out where it crosses the axis. Now your answer to part C, that gives you the roots. So you'll know where it crosses the x-axis about. You need to work out where it crosses the y-axis. So if you put x equals 0 into your original formula, that will give you where it crosses the y-axis. You know the turning points, so you can draw your curve. Question 6. We know u1, u2, u3, we're given those. We also know that the formula is un plus 1 equals aun plus b. Now using that formula, u2 is au1 plus b, and u3 is au2 plus b. Now all you need to do is substitute the numbers from up here into these little equations. So instead of u1, you're going to put 16. Instead of u2, you're going to put 12 in 2 places, and u3 here. That's going to create some simultaneous equations which you can then solve to work out what A is and what B is. Then you can answer the question about the limits, and then you can find the limit formula. Remember, the limit formula is B over 1 minus A. Question 7, circle question, right down its centre. Now we're going to use the formula negative g negative f for the centre and the square root of g squared plus f squared minus c for the radius. So negative g negative f is just a case of taking the x number, half it, change the sign, the y number, half it, and change the sign. Then you just plug all of those into the formula along with your negative 5. And it should come out to be a nice, easy, exact answer. If it doesn't come out to be an exact answer, we've gone wrong someplace. For part B, to show that the point 6, negative 7 lies on the circle, then substitute 6 in for x, negative 7 in for y. And if you substitute all those in, you should end up getting 0 equals 0. Okay, for part C we need to find the equation of the tangent. So that's a line which just touches the circle in one point and is perpendicular to the radius. So how do we go about doing that? Well, the first thing we need to work out is the gradient of the radius. Now we know the centre, we got that from earlier on. We know the point on the edge, we're given that in the question, is 6, negative 7. So work out the gradient of the radius, then get the gradient of the tangent, and then use that point on the edge and that gradient you've just found, and y minus b equals mx minus a. Question 8. We know that sine A is equal to 5 over 13. So we can have this diagram. Now a wee bit of Pythagoras work will tell you what this value here is. We're asked to work out the value of sine 2A. So we're going to use the sine 2A formula, which is 2 sine A cos A. From your diagram up here, we can work out sine A, well we're told that in the question actually. We can work out what cos A is. We can plug those into your formula to get your answer. Okay, this question is going to make use of the fact that log P minus log Q is equal log P over Q. Okay, so we're going to use that fact on this expression here. That's going to get you to a stage where you've got log to the base 4 of something equals x. and then you're going to ask yourself, get rid of the logs. How do I get rid of the logs? 4 to the power x equals whatever your question mark is, and you should hopefully be able to work out x from that. Lastly, question 10. You've got two functions f and g. First one you've got to work out is f of g minus x, f of g of x. So the g goes into the f formula, so the 4x minus 2 goes in here for x. So you get 2 bracket 4x minus 2 plus 3. And then you repeat again for g of f of x. So this time you're going to put f into the g formula. So now you're going to put that in here for x. That's going to give you another expression. Remember, and put it in square brackets because you're taking it all away. Tidy it all up, and you should get a nice easy answer coming out at the end. And that's it.